You're listening to The Haunted Files. Before we begin tonight, I want to say something. We receive hundreds of stories. Most of them are terrifying in the way that darkness is terrifying. Unsettling, atmospheric, the kind of thing that makes you check the hallway before you sleep. And then there are stories that belong to a different category entirely. Stories where the horror doesn't stay at the location. Stories where something decides, consciously, deliberately, to follow you home. Tonight's story comes from Karachi, Pakistan. It involves an entire family, multiple witnesses, a location with a history nobody warned them about, and an entity that didn't just visit one person, it transferred. In Islamic tradition, the Jinn are not metaphor. They are documented in the Quran as a parallel creation, beings of smokeless fire, existing alongside humanity, capable of inhabiting spaces, and, under specific conditions, inhabiting people. The scholars don't call it possession lightly. The family in tonight's story didn't use that word either. Not until their mother started eating raw meat at midnight with her bare hands and smiling. Night is Zion. He is the kind of man who organizes things, the cousin who books the cars, confirms the head count, makes sure everyone's packed and ready. He tells this story carefully, methodically, the way a steady person tells a story that broke something inside them. It started as a celebration. The plan was simple enough. His siblings had flown in from Australia and Dubai, rare, precious visits that the whole family had been anticipating for months. Someone suggested Mubarak Village, a coastal settlement on the outskirts of Karachi, where the Arabian Sea meets the edge of the city and the land becomes something older and stranger than concrete and traffic. They booked a hut, one of the few permanent structures out there, not a tent, not a resort, but a simple concrete dwelling owned by a local family, available for overnight stays. Zayan's uncle knew someone. The arrangements were made. They arrived at dusk. 11 family members, 3 generations. His mother, his elder brother, a deeply religious man, the kind who would not let Maghrib prayer be skipped, even on a holiday. His sisters, his cousins, a pregnant sister-in-law who needed her own room, her own quiet, her own privacy. They had brought food, a generator, speakers, a large dog. They had brought everything, except knowledge of the hut's history. Maghrib prayer was observed properly, as the elder brother insisted. The women prepared food. The men sat outside under the open sky. The sea was close enough to hear. The air was warm and salt heavy, and the kind of beautiful that makes people lower their guard. By 8:30, they were comfortable, settled. The children were playing. The cousins were drifting between the hut and the water. Music played at low volume from the speaker. That is when Zayan's pregnant sister, alone in her room, resting on her side, the small window above her bed, facing the road, felt the shadow. She did not see it at first. She felt it. The particular feeling of a presence that arrives before it is visible, a change in the quality of the air, a heaviness that settles in the chest without explanation. She sat up, turned on the lamp beside her, Nothing at the window. The road beyond it was empty, dark, deserted. She lay back down, turned off the lamp. And the shadow that had been outside the window was now inside the room. Not at the window, inside. As though the darkness itself had simply stepped through the glass without disturbing it. She turned onto her side, pressing her face away from it, telling herself what rational people tell themselves in the dark. Imagination, fatigue, the strangeness of an unfamiliar place. That was when she felt it move closer. Not heard, felt. The displacement of air, the sensation of fabric staring near her face, as though something was leaning down to look at her. And then a sound, low, almost inaudible. Like breathing that doesn't belong to a human throat. She turned back. 3 feet from the bed, in the corner where the lamplight didn't reach, a shadow stood. It had the shape of a girl. Long hair, still, watching. Her scream brought every person in the hut running. They moved her to the main sitting area. Turned the music up loud, instinctively, the way people do when they need the world to sound normal. Someone made tea. Someone else held her hand and told her it was nothing. Just her nerves, just the strangeness of a new place, just the pregnancy making everything feel amplified. Zayan went outside to check the perimeter of the hut. He found nothing. He came back inside, sat down in his chair facing the open staircase that led to the upper level of the hut. That was when his cousin, sitting directly across from him, went very quiet. Zayan noticed the shift immediately, the way you notice when someone in your peripheral vision stops moving. He looked at his cousin. His cousin was staring at the top of the stairs. "There's someone up there," he said. His voice was completely flat. The voice of someone reporting a fact they cannot process. A girl. Long hair. She was looking at us. Zayan turned. The top of the stairs was empty. He went up anyway, because that is the kind of man he is. The one who checks. The one who makes sure. His cousin followed. 2 other men came behind them. They reached the top of the stairs. In the far corner of the upper level, half obscured by the angle of the wall, something stood. A girl. Or the shape of one. Hair so long it obscured the face entirely. Standing with a stillness that no living person achieves. Not the stillness of someone trying not to be seen, but the stillness of something that has no need to breathe. Zayan's memory of the next few seconds is incomplete. He remembers running. He remembers the sound of multiple people on the stairs at once. He remembers reaching the ground floor and realizing he could not fully account for what he had just seen. Not because it was unclear, but because his mind was already beginning the process of refusing it. Then, the lights went out. The generator, a Yamaha unit, fully fueled, serviced, reliable, the kind of equipment that doesn't simply stop. It stopped. Every light in the hut, simultaneously, without flicker or warning. In the sudden dark, the sounds began. Footsteps on the upper level, rapid, crossing back and forth, the pattern of something moving without destination or purpose, the pacing of something contained, agitated, awakened. Then, from somewhere outside, a sound that the driver, alone in the parked car, seat reclined, windows up, brad later as fingernails, dragged repeatedly across the rear window. Slow, deliberate. As though whatever was doing it wanted him to know it was there. He sat up, checked all mirrors. The road around the car was empty. Then the rear tire exploded. Not deflated, exploded. The sound of it brought 3 of the men running from the hut. They found the driver standing outside the car, pale as paper, pointing at the tire with the expression of someone who has decided not to say what he is actually thinking. They changed the tire. They packed the bags. Not everything. Some things would stay behind forever, abandoned in the rush. They loaded into the car. The driver started the engine. And Zayan's mother recited Surah Al-Manzil from memory, her voice steady, filling the interior of the car with the words that his family had been using against dark things for longer than any of them had been alive. They pulled onto the road. The girl ran beside them. The car was doing 70, 80 kilometers per hour on a road that offered no cover, no shadows, nothing that should have been able to keep pace. She kept pace. Sometimes alongside the car, sometimes ahead of it, standing in the headlights for a fraction of a second before vanishing. Sometimes disappearing entirely and then reappearing on the opposite side without having crossed the road. The driver did not stop. He drove. He recited. His knuckles were white on the wheel, and he did not look in the mirrors, and he drove. She followed them for approximately 4 kilometers, and then she was simply gone. They reached home at 1 in the morning. Nobody ate, nobody slept. They sat in the main room of the family house, in the particular silence of people who have experienced something together and cannot yet find words for it that won't make it more real. Zayan found out the next day, through the contact who had booked the hut, that the structure had been closed for 20 years. 20 years, no bookings, no overnight guests. The locals knew not to go there after dark. They had known for years, and nobody had thought to mention it. And now, here they were. 2 days later, it came home with them. It is important to understand this part clearly. The entity, whatever it was, whatever category of being it belongs to, did not disappear when they crossed the city limits. It followed. It waited. And when it identified its host, it moved with the precision of something that had done this before. It chose Zayan's mother. The religious scholar who came, a man known in certain circles of Karachi for exactly this kind of work, explained it without drama, the way a doctor explains a diagnosis. There is a shadow here, he said, a witch's imprint cast from the site. And a jinn that travelled with you, not one of the malevolent ones, but a presence nonetheless, drawn by the disruption. The witch's shadow had found the point of entry. His mother's beauty, her hair worn open that evening, the perfume she had applied before leaving. In certain traditions, these are not vanities, they are signals, readable by things that hunt by frequency rather than sight. She had been selected, and something had entered. What followed is the part of this story that Zayan tells last, and quietly. The midnight sound, a rhythmic chewing coming from the kitchen. His mother at the open refrigerator, pulling raw meat from the shelf with her bare hands and eating it. Not desperately, not hungrily, pleasurely, with the satisfied, unhurried contentment of someone eating something they had been craving for a long time. He called her name. She did not respond. He called again, louder. Nothing. Her eyes were open, but they were not looking at him. They were looking at something in the middle distance that existed somewhere he could not see. He heard her voice. Not from her, from somewhere near her, or through her, or in the space between them. A voice that told him, quietly and without inflection, not to wake anyone, not to interfere. He knocked on his brother's door with both fists. It took 4 of them to separate her from the meat. She returned to it twice more over the following days, pulled back to the refrigerator by something that operated her body like a hand inside a glove, that wore her face and moved through her routines and sat at her table while something else looked out through her eyes. She bit through 2 of her own fingers down to the bone. She felt no pain. She would later have no memory of it. She would ask, for months afterward, what had happened to her hands. And her children would look at each other across the table and say nothing, because some truths are too large to hand to the person who lived them. The scholar returned. The treatment took days. The entity departed, not easily, not willingly, but it departed. His mother is well now. Alhamdulillah, Zayan says, and he means it completely. But here is the thing he comes back to, even now, years later, the hut. 20 years empty. Locals who knew, a booking that should never have been possible, a contact who arranged it without warning them. He asked that contact afterward, "Why didn't you tell us?" The man looked at him for a long moment. And then he said, "I didn't think anyone would actually stay the night." This has been the Haunted Files. Mubarak village is real. The coastal settlements outside Karachi are real. The huts are real. Some of them have been empty for a very long time. And some things, patient things, selective things, have been waiting in them just as long. Keep your hair tied. Leave the perfume at home. And if someone tells you a place has been closed for 20 years, believe them. We'll see you next time.